welcome to Sheyld Show, the place where Alec and I get together each and every week to talk about the game that we love, and that is Big Brother Canada. This week we are joined by one of the more recent house guests who had a very tumultuous journey through her Big Brother experience, but we are very happy to have her with us tonight. It is Lavita, ladies and gentlemen. Thunderous applause for Lavita. But I think partially that was just for your hat.
I'm wearing a hat tonight, guys. This is actually Kelsey's hat, by the way, because we are best friends now, right? So thought I'd wear this.
Yes, as we all saw towards the end of your very, honestly, probably one of the more unique runs that anybody has had, not just in Big Brother Canada, but in Big Brother USA as well. Like Big Brother North America, I think, Lavita, you can literally hang your hat, proverbial or otherwise, on the fact that you had a really unique journey in there. And even though you went pre-jury, I think a lot of people remember you. I think you were, or like will remember you, like, you know, as the seasons go on, and like with a pretty good kind of reputation, I think, in the house, because you were an interesting character to watch. We hadn't quite seen someone exactly like you in terms of the way that you played and the journey you kind of went on. And so, for me, like when we have new people on the show, before we get into like the game as it is right now and what's going on in the house, I'm always most curious to find out why Big Brother for you. Like, what was the choice? What was the light switch that went off to make you want to play this insane game? You know, Alec and we're both huge super fans. We've watched it since, you know, day one in the USA, but everybody approaches the game from a different way. So I'm very curious to hear, why was Big Brother something that you wanted to do? And, you know, just kind of talk about your journey beforehand, getting into the house, and kind of what you were looking to get out of the experience.
I think I wanted to do Big Brother because, like I said in my intro, I'm obsessed with board games. I love anything game-related where you have to play a game, you have to take a side, and you have to make moves. I love that, but I am a different person the way I do play Big Brother, and I thought that I would be good in Big Brother because I do think outside the box, and I am very different from the vast majority of people, as I was in the house. And I thought that Big Brother for me, not necessarily that I had a huge social game, but I thought that people would start to become aware of the fact that I'm a thinker, I'm a gamer, and want to align themselves with that. I also thought that I'm really good physically. Like, I felt that I could kill at competition, so I thought that might be another reason that I could do, like, look at Jillian. She won all those HOHs. I mean, she had Emmett, and it was like back-to-back, and in the back of my mind I said, I could get something going like that. I wanted to be able to make, you know, a singular bond with somebody and have that person's back to the end and hope that that person, you know, would also be good at comps. And it kind of panned out that way a little bit, but at the same time, yeah, those are my main reasons for wanting to go on Big Brother, was to challenge my abilities, my ability to, like, you know, play pieces in a game, which are the people, as well as be in the game myself, and challenge myself in a social setting with all sorts of crazy people.
There's certainly no shortage of crazy people in the Big Brother house. So really, I guess what I'm hearing is, you saw the Marsha board game in Season 2, and we're like, I want that, but for 3 months.
Exactly.
I've never heard that before ever in my life. Doing this show because you like board games.
That's it. Like, I think I said to Kelsey, like, when I was explaining to her, when I put her up on the block and she'd come to me and said, well, why did you put me up? And I overheard that I'm your target, and I said, you know, like, we could squash all this. I just see it as a board game. Like, it's not personal, Kels. I like you as a person, but this is a board game for me, and we're all pieces. So it's hard for people to, I guess, to relate to that. But
If it was Monopoly, I think we'd all know what piece Lavita would be.
And that is my favorite, one of my favorite games. I will tell you that.
Well, let's talk about your game for a sec, because you kind of gave us the broad strokes. But I said right away, as soon as you won the first HOH, which is something that it is kind of looked at as a bit of a curse. It's the most mixed blessing, kind of like somebody has to win. Like even people who throw comps or even people that don't actively want to win these competitions. The thing of it is that in that first week, somebody has to win. This is the unenviable position of being put in charge of the game right out of the bat, and it happens on night one. And so you won that first HOH, ultimately ill-fated HOH for you. And I said right at the bat, I was like, okay, congratulations, Levita, you've won the first HOH. I'll see you in 2 weeks on Sideshow.
Bye.
Now, of course, you didn't get your Sideshow for some whatever reason. But do you think you were kind of a victim of this first HOH curse? Do you maybe like how you were saying, Kelsey come in the room, you're like, it's nothing personal, it's just the game. But it is a very personal game. Like, that's kind of the catch-22 with Big Brother, is that it's hard to be a matter-of-fact game bot in there because it's so much, 95% of the game is just cohabitating with these other wackos that you put in there. So, and I feel like that was kind of your Achilles heel the entire time, is that you were so focused on being a great game player that you maybe lapse a little bit in the more social elements of the game. Because I feel like people kind of thought, oh, here's Levita with another game talker. Oh, man, this girl with the gaming again. And I know that it's fun to over-strategize and be constantly thinking through scenarios, which I think you were really good at. But from a social standpoint, do you now maybe look at, maybe I should have just been more friendly with people and been less of a gamer?
I think there's that aspect of relatability in a game like Big Brother, and for me, my mindset I think was so different from everybody else, and the things that they wanted to do. I'm a very private person, so at times even having discussions with people about me personally, which is what everybody needs to be able to hear to be build a true trust or bond or feel like they actually know you, is something that I've always held in my life. So I think that hindered me. But at the end of the day, there's an aspect that I think I want people to recognize in Big Brother, is there's a lot of variables and there's a lot of chance. You do have HOH, you do have POV, and our games were a mix of luck and skill. So you can't say, looking at the game, that even where I was at, after winning first HOH, yeah, it is a bad initial game move to win HOH, but like you said, someone has to take it. And I don't regret taking it. I just think that what you can't fix is you can't fix silly and you can't fix stupid. So when I look at how I went out the house, I do think that I know that the person that put me up and the person that used the two individuals that used the veto knew that I had their back, or maybe I know that they maybe at that point might not have known, and gossip happens, things happen in the house, but was that move, could I have fixed that move? Could I have changed anything about it? I don't know how much you could say to someone, I'm with you. If I win a veto and you're on the block, I'll use it. I don't know how clear you can be about that. So in my opinion, I think that I did have a successful HOH. I think that people didn't exactly get to see. I didn't tell Kelsey. I didn't just nominate her, walk up to her and say, hey, you're my target. Somebody else expressed that I wanted her out, and she came to me. So that conversation kind of exploded, and I'm not going to lie, I just told her, yes, you know what, you are the one I want out. Someone's already told you anyways, and it just kind of went downhill from there. So, I don't know. I think I'm happy how I played my HOH. I think that if the house had took my opinion and valued it, I could have been in a better spot, and she might have been out the door. Now that I know Kelsey, I like her personally, I'm happy that she's still in the game. But for HOH, I don't know. I think I played it okay. I don't think I could control people's mouths or people talking and kind of exploding that first week.
Control is certainly something. Yeah, I always say you need to have some combination of the most relevant information, power, or control. You need kind of two of the three of those at all time in order to be successful. One funny thing that I remember way back when we first saw the house guest unveiled, we were doing a preview show, And I remember Kevin Martin from last year really liked you. Like, he thought you were going to be someone who could be a contender in this game. But it was for a very strange reason, and it was because you, in one of the videos, you constantly described yourself as being mediocre. And he was like, I like that. That's refreshing. Like, this is a girl who's not overselling herself, not underselling herself. She's like, you know what? I'm middle of the road, and that's why I think you could be good. Alec, do you think Levita's game is just mediocre, and that's why she went when she did?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think we all kind of know that in this season of Big Brother that they're not the most game savvy people, and so I think somebody can come up with like a decent strategy and think really strategically. In another season, say season 3, where they're all a bunch of super fans and they're all strategizing like that, you might have been able to reason with some people, but
that was my season.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if you were maybe on a different season, like that Maddie thing, like you said, like you can't fix stupid, and like I think like we were out here watching that, and the whole entire reaction was like, what the hell is Maddie doing? Like, why is she doing this? So I mean, like, yeah, in some ways your game was, I wouldn't say it was bad in that respect at all. I think where you went wrong is maybe not dumbing yourself down to like, you know, the level of like everybody around you. It's part of it is adapting. Like, I use Derek as a reference a lot on the show, and you know, he's a smart guy. He does, you know, he's like an undercover cop or whatever, but on the season he dumbed himself down. You know, he like wore his prop glasses and was pretending to be like a hipster guy. Like, sometimes you just gotta like lower yourself down to like, you know, the level of your castmates. Not as a knock on your castmates, but they're not the most strategically oriented that we've seen in previous seasons. So I mean, we saw it with Mitch, we saw it I think with you as well.
Yeah, Mitch is good. Mitch is real good.
Like you see control on the season, right? Like he's a clear favorite in any other season because he's got that strategic mindset. But it's like you can't ration with people that are, you know, it's hard to reason with people that are not thinking in that way.
Yeah, like even Mitch, that when he, you know, was trying to show them with like the chocolate pieces or the chocolate covered raisins, I was like, I'm like, wow, like he has this in the bag.
Yeah, he's
There's
making
no
really
way.
good.
I'm like, if I was sitting there, I'd be like, all for Mitch. You know what I mean? Like, it's Mitch.
Yeah.
Like, I love Joel. God love Joel. I wish it would be somebody else against Mitch, but it's like, why wouldn't you vote for Mitch after that speech?
Yeah. But I mean, like that's just what we're seeing outside, and it's like it's so clear to us because it's laid out all the reasoning and rationale. But I guess when you're in the house, you got people that are thinking some out of fear, some out of, you know, if it's not me, I'm okay with it, and you know, people aren't really thinking like, okay, what is actually the best statistical move for me? Like, what do I have the highest probability of sticking around? And like you said, I think Maddie putting you up and doing that, it was a little bit weird. People were just like, what the hell is going on? But like, you know, there's wild cards in every season. I think you just got stuck with quite a few of them.
Speaking of getting stuck with someone, on that fake double eviction night, you went into Big Brother's secret suite with perhaps arguably one of your arch nemesis at the time. And, you know, like, kind of talk us, because we, on the TV show, as I'm sure you've seen, we only got to see a little bit of you two in that room, and there was a lot of strategizing, and there was a lot of you two kind of, like, bringing your games together to try to create, like, the best, like, whoever was going to go back in, it was going to be the best version of both of you, or at least that appeared to be what the approach was. But you're literally going from living in this large house environment with a bunch of other people, like over 10 people at least at that point, and then you're in a tiny hotel proxy room with one other person who you did not get along with up until that point. That's something that certainly Alec and I could not identify with. Perhaps the secret house guests from season 2, like Allison, Scott, and Nate, maybe they can identify with it to like some degree. But walk us through that week of just being totally isolated with one other person, with only the, you know, occasional live feed to watch, and just your wits to entertain you.
I couldn't have been more stoked to find out that I was going to be locked away in a room with Kelsey. When we walked into the stage, I was smiling from ear to ear. When she was standing next to me, I was smiling, and that's just me. Like, I looked at it as the opportunity to, now we're isolated, it's the two of us, and all the other house guests that could talk in both of our ears are gone. I knew right from the beginning that we were going to clear the air and that we were going to talk game, and that no matter which one. And to tell you the truth, I was shocked. I thought that Kelsey would have a lot more information to share with me, but I felt like realistically, like the information that I could give her would be, her going back in the house. She could kill it if she, plays her cards right. I definitely think the item of Mitch was a hot topic for everybody. It was like, well, why blow up Mitch's game? But
you killed Mitch.
Mitch,
you killed Mitch, you bastard.
Mitch is gonna love. I believe that when Mitch comes out, he's gonna appreciate the game move, because I think one thing that Mitch underestimated is my abilities in the game, and he kind of let loose with the idea or the concept of twists. Twists do exist. In fact, Mitch had a conversation with Kelsey about another season with a very similar twist to this. So he's very aware that these twists do exist. And I think that I know that Mitch had kind of, thrown me under the bus a little bit, but nobody would have ever suspected, like, me and Mitch working together. I mean, that could have been good, but I thought, you know what, if she's going back in, I respect the game, I respect the twist, and at that point, we didn't know who was going back. Because if I had gone back, which I thought, if Mitch thought long and hard about this, me going back, I wouldn't have exposed Mitch in that way to get him out. I would have wanted to utilize Mitch and work with him. Would I have had to expose some of that information to Jared to kind of get Jared on my side? Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, too, I could spin it in such a way where we all could have worked together for a time being, because I believe that I had enough information with the whole idea of the twist being revealed to the house guests that Jared would know, yes, I spoke to Kelsey. This is very real. I'm coming in with real information. I'm not making this up. And I think that would have been really cool to see, because Mitch had such great, was affiliated with everybody and was so solid in the house, and I knew that he knew the game. I knew he was smart from the moment I spoke to Mitch. I'm like, this guy's smart. I was weary of Mitch even 2 days before I got backdoored. And I told Joel that. I said, Joel, I'm a little weary of Mitch because things were changing. But the whole room situation and me giving her all the information, I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I thought it was great to throw that challenge at Mitch, and I thought he did a great job at kind of twisting the situation in his favor. I just don't think that the people in the house could relate to Mitch's mindset, because Mitch came out and, like, called out Kelsey, called out everyone. I'm like, wow, Mitch has this in the bag. He's staying this week. If I was in that house, I don't know how I couldn't vote to keep Mitch, even after knowing. But yeah, I got to bond with Kelsey, and if people are wondering, was it genuine? Was it true? Absolutely. On my part, I love Kelsey. I think she's a great girl, and there's a difference between knowing a person and playing the game. And in that room, we got to bond as people, because we were squished up kind of together. We did a lot of strange things, and we talked. we talked.
Hold on, don't bury the lead. Tell us of these strange things that you and Kelsey, the hottest hotel room in Canada, got up to in the live feeds or tell.
We
it's not like people are paying attention.
We knew, yeah. You know what? Live feeds, yeah. They went down. We had a lot of time to talk and a lot of time to spend together, which was great, and it was real. And that's the thing that I think that fans don't recognize, is they do view the game. But you also understand when you make peace with somebody, I'm not going to come out on a stage on national television and tell you that I value someone. We're going to be great friends outside the house if I don't mean it. And Kelsey, she's going to be Kelsey. She's going to play the game the way she wants to play it. I think she definitely did get a second chance. Got a lot of great information, and I am rooting for her, and I hope she goes far, because she wasn't in game mode, and now I think she's in game mode. Yeah, she's still with the same people, but let's give her a little bit of grace and a break. How is someone like Kelsey gonna go in and almost fake like she doesn't care about Jared anymore and she doesn't care about Raul? That's pretty damn hard.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, actually. I think it was kind of the most smart thing that she could have done to go back in and because one of the things that people look for most in the house is consistency. So if Kelsey comes back in and she's suddenly Maddie's best friend, or she's bunking up with Ramsey, it's unbelievable. It's not going to make any sense.
Exactly.
So, but for her to go back to Jared and Raul like she did, and yet keep kind of tabs on the brothers, keep she's kind of weary of Tim, and start to go back to her default position. If your back's up against the wall, suddenly you find that you're very stable because you've got that behind you. and then you can start to work forward. So I actually agree with you, even though like a lot of people think that Kelsey kind of shot herself in the foot by immediately going back to what she knew. It's like, well, what else really was she gonna do?
She shouldn't have evicted Mitch like right off the hop because she could have, because obviously Mitch wasn't sure whether or not I gave her pieces of information, which I was considering saying in my speech, but at the same time too it could affect the person that goes back in a really negative way.
What was your your plan for Kelsey? Because I think we all kind of accept that Kelsey is like kind of working under the Lovita brain, like she's kind of just doing what you said in that room. Was the plan to go in and target Mitch, or was the plan to go in like Mitch is smarter than you think, work with him? Which one was it?
So I kind of thought that for both of us, like for sure for me to work with Mitch, we did talk about 50 billion different theories. If you know me, like Lovita talks in circles, has all these game ideas. And one of the things that we looked at was the idea of the brothers, and Joel and Mitch seemed really to, whether they had an open, like an actual alliance confirmed, they were working really closely with each other. So we looked at one of those three people being removed from the triangle. Me, I love Joel. So for me, I felt like Joel needs to stay in the game. That was just a personal thing for me. That wasn't even game, just for me to ask Kelsey to keep him safe. Because removing the brothers is also removing somebody that, Mitch had kind of under his belt to kind of work with. And also, Jared really didn't like the brothers, so that would be in favor of, what Jared would want to do. And maybe continue to work with Mitch as far as you can get. But Kelsey felt that she had a closer relationship with Cass, because personally, the way I look at Big Brother is if you can't predict what someone's going to do, and they're talking out of both sides of their mouth all around the house, and I'm not talking, yes, Big Brother, you gossip, but I'm talking about somebody that every week does what's best for their game, and if they can get close to someone that's on the block at the bottom, which I felt, was Cass's strategy. And I think Cass, to tell you the truth, is doing a really, really great job in the game because she is good at convincing people. But that's dangerous. And a lot of people in the house, their consensus was like, oh, she'll get herself out. But it's like, no, because you guys keep saying that every single week, she's gonna make it to final 3. So I was kind of, for myself, suggesting like the Cass needs to go because Cass is so good at the game, and it's not against Cass. It's the fact that if you want to win $100,000, who do you want to keep in this house? And yeah, like I said, for Kelsey's game, I did suggest work with Mitch, maybe go for someone like the brothers first, maybe even a Tim character, because Tim is loved by everybody. There's this, like, he has this aura in the house. Like, there's no way if I won an HOH and I try to get people to vote with gummy bears, everybody like, I'm not doing that, Lovita. I'm not doing that. But because it's Tim, they're doing it. So everyone, I mean, people looking like, oh, Tim, you're God. It's like, okay, if I flew all the way from Australia and I came into the house with this beautiful accent and I was this Big Brother God, everybody might view me the same way. Whether I only spoke game or I didn't say shit, everybody would still think I'm a god. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we did speak about Kelsey coming in and removing maybe Tim, the brothers. I thought she might go for the brothers first, but she also knew that she was, or, had a good friendship with the brothers.
Well, part of it might have also been that Raul just fucked everything up for everyone. When he
that was the huge component, though. That was the big.
I think that accelerated things. Honestly, I think probably, like you're saying, like if your plan was Kelsey try work with Mitch or whatever, but be cautious of him. That's I think what she was doing, and Raul just kind of like accelerated things, and now it became like, okay, they're on to me. Mitch kind of goes in defensive mode, and then things accelerate for it. But I mean, as a viewer, I really liked. We knew that Mitch was going to be in trouble at some point because everyone's always in trouble at some point. But as a viewer, I enjoyed kind of watching it happen weeks and weeks before it was meant to happen, really, just so we get a good idea of the kind of player Mitch is. He's forced to play. And, whether he did or didn't was successful, unsuccessful, it was fun to watch him kind of like scramble and try and get these votes. So
Mitch is another season 3. I feel like Mitch would have been great in season 3.
Absolutely.
I do think Mitch jumped the gun a little bit and didn't really, I think even at the point of voting me back in, to tell you the truth, I thought, like, if these people want $100,000, take the girl that, I was a DD, damsel in distress, okay? Like, I literally laid down like a lamb and was just like, oh, I can't play the game anymore, like, evict me. And it still, didn't ring with anybody that she has a solid alliance in there, and not only a solid alliance, but a showmance, which yeah, I first week could have seen that. I kind of tried to express that, but people in that house we're kind of viewing things based on like, okay, we evicted Levita, you know, and I'm sure the brothers were thinking like, we just used a veto on Levita. Even Maddie though was kind of like, bring back Levita. So I don't know, like I think Kelsey is getting a lot of negative comments about how she's playing her game, having a second chance. But I think it's a lot easier for people to say that than to be in there because, like you said, it would look fake. And like you also said, Raul kind of ruined everything by sharing the information that could have aided him and benefited him. And Raul and Mitch had a personal connection with Raul. They personally liked each other. And as much as Mitch is a gamer, he also does value having that personal connection, that interaction, which he did have with Raul. And I think Raul made a big mistake because obviously now he's out of the house, but both of those two guys could still be in the house working together and other people could have been targeted. You know, it was an anger thing. Like Raul was mad at Mitch and Kelsey was like, yeah, put him up, go for it. And Raul's like, yeah, I'm angry. And then you have Jared over here that's trying to be like, let's try to like settle this and backdoor the brothers because I hate the brothers, even though the brothers love me and they want to like, anyways. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know.
Well, before we get to all of Raul's mistakes, of which there are many, and a lot of them, I just want to one quick question, just about that vote because it really feel like Jared just kind of got his way and they all kind of rolled over and died. And I kind of thought that, you might be a little disappointed with, like I feel like if Dallas would have been in there, he might have been like that contrary voice to Jared to be like, okay, you're saying this, but I'm saying this, and I'm going to be just as steadfast as you because as I think you pointed out, like Nikki, Maddie, Ramsey probably, like there are a few others in there, Joel, there were more people that wanted Levita back than wanted Kelsey back. But it was because Jared and Raul kind of put their foot down and put their stamp on it really quickly. Everyone just wanted to appease them. And we talked about an inside show about, like, do you stick your neck out? Like, in that situation, do you do something that is definitively good for you and not just give anybody what you want? And so, like, ultimately, I kind of feel like, all the people who didn't stick their neck out are probably going to regret it, which kind of gives you like some sense of like justification or like aha, like I told you, you should have brought me back.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, but were you upset? Like were you a little? Because I know, like, you love the game more than Kelsey does. Like, when Kelsey left, she didn't care. She was ready to go home. She had lost. She was going to go back and be a flight attendant, whatever it was. Like, she didn't care. But you, at least, were more of a fan and, like, had been familiar with the seasons and like, Big Brother was more important to you. And so, like, I'm just curious as to what your reaction was when basically the house just rolled over and died and gave Jared what he wanted and didn't give you the opportunity to go back in. Because personally, like, and I think I told you this a little while ago, it's like, I think all you really needed to say is, hey, you guys got rid of both of us. We've both been evicted. We both lost. None of you like me, so bring me back in and you all get you all get 1 week further. Bring me back in, put me up, vote me out. I will sit down during the veto competition. I won't even play the veto. Like, doesn't matter. And then all you need to do is get back in, and then you can start whispering, and then you can start like maneuvering and stuff like that. But I mean, were you bummed that they all just kind of went, yeah, let's give Jared what he wants?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't bummed, and the way I looked at it was, I looked at it this way. I said, I've been playing my game, like, I could say that to them, Peter, by the end of the day, they're not going to buy it at this point because they all think I'm this massive comp threat. But if we actually look at the comps that I won, yeah, I do believe that if I wanted to pull it out, I could be a threat. But there is luck intertwined. So the way that they view it is, when I say they, Jared and Raul, and like at that time, like that side of the house that really didn't want me in because they felt like I would go against them kind of thing, is that I could come up from the gravel and I'll say whatever I need to say to get back in because I did play the damsel in distress. I was the the person in the house that was like, oh, like, I can't stand it here kind of thing. And it's the truth. At moments, I was frustrated because it's like I felt like I was talking to walls and nobody was kind of seeing what I was trying to display. And I wasn't sure whether or not it was going to be me or Kelsey, and I didn't really think much needed to be said, especially the fact that they exposed what the twist was. So I thought logic would, kind of like start dinging in people's head, like, oh my gosh, person that has nobody, everybody hates her in the house, biggest target versus has a 3-person alliance plus a showmance plus is loved by I just thought, like, if you want to win $100,000, I could walk up onto the stage and say, shit, and that's enough. And I'm in the house. Like, if you're thinking the way I'm thinking, like, I don't need to say anything. I can walk up there and just smile and walk away. But the way some of the people in the house, it was almost like it's a popularity contest. Do I think it's foolish? Yes. Why do I think they did this? Okay. Well, when you're playing a game, me coming to the house, I always knew that, okay, I wanted to have an alliance, but I didn't want it to be so outward. It would be good, like, migrating through the game as weeks go by to really form those ties with people that you wouldn't really be, no one would be able to assume that you're working with them, like Mitch. Nobody would have ever assumed that. Or even my association with Joel. People are very superficial in the world and life, which I think isn't always a good thing. But in this game, like, if they knew me in my real life, they'd be like, okay, she's definitely gonna be friends with Joel, and she probably would be friends with Mitch if they knew me as a person outside of the house. So I think that having a silent alliance where nobody knows is important. Jared, Raul, and Kelsey, the 3 of them were outward from the beginning. So for Jared and Raul to speak up in that setting, it doesn't matter. But when you're someone like Mitch that has all these intricate connections with people, and you're gonna now go speak out when you've been really close with a certain group of people, you've had a lot of fun with them, to speak out and be like, nah, bring Levita back. It does make a statement. It is a little suspicious. Same with someone like Joel. Joel is his game, and who he is the guy that listens in the ring. He's quiet. He listens. He sits there every conversation, and he takes in all of this information, and he doesn't say much. So for him to take a stand and put his foot down, who's going to be behind him? The floaters don't want to expose themselves. They don't want to be seen as taking a side. And most importantly, there's a hierarchy in the house, and we all know who's at the top of the hierarchy, and it's Jared. So if you want to stand up against Jared, be prepared to be the one that's thrown under the bus next week if your plan fails. And that is the ultimate truth. And I do believe that my second HOH, if I hadn't have agreed to work with them and I would have thrown them up on the block or backdoored somebody, that I might not be sitting out here. But at the same time, too, I recognized right away how much people trusted and for some reason just wanted to do everything Jared wanted to do. And I said, okay, you know what, Levita? It's better that I align with them than go against them. But it didn't work out. So I think that people couldn't speak up for numerous reasons. Like, you just can't speak up in that house when you've been silent the whole game or you haven't played a loud game. Jared and Raul, what does unanimous mean? That means everybody has to agree. Everybody damn well knows Jared and Raul would never, ever in a million years agree to have me back in the house. Unanimous. Pretty much means bye, Levita. That's what that means. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was strange to me.
Yeah, no.
I think the real takeaway from that is that Go ahead, Alec.
I was just going to say that I think Maddie, like, the smartest thing that ever came out of Maddie's mouth was the strategy that I think she came up with, which was, get her back in the house because we can vote her right out. I thought it was great. I honestly, I wasn't thinking that too, but then Maddie says it, and I'm like, that actually made sense, and I was like, for the first time, I was like, okay, maybe Maddie actually is, a little bit better than we were giving her credit for. Little did I know, it was just a flash.
Maddie might be, though, because she did backdoor me, I take it as a compliment. She thought I was a threat enough to backdoor her when I was in an alliance with her. Or,
the one thing that was mad about you, Levita, I was like, your speech. I was like, I know, even if it is a throwaway and even if you can go up there, why the hell did you spend 25 seconds saying how great Kelsey was? I was like, look, you don't have to spend the rest of your life in this room.
Do you want to know what my original speech was?
Yes, we want to hear the original speech.
Here's Levita's original speech.
Wait, can I do a drum roll?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, house guests. Congratulations, you're still in the house. First off, I want you to know, as you all know, I'm a gamer. I do not take game moves personally. I know you all evicted me this week, but I want you to know you all evicted me. So I do not have anything personally against any of you. First point, let everybody who's afraid that they use the veto, they backdoor me, know that I'm not mad. Second point, it was great spending time in the room with Kelsey. We were able to divulge information to one another. In fact, I've shared all of the information, all of my conversations, and all of my alliances with Kelsey. And this is my original speech. And just so you know, we have shared everything with one another. So vote in a way that's going to benefit your game. Hope to see you soon. Bye. That did not come out of my mouth.
See? Way better. Way better.
That was going to be my speech.
Do you want to know your actual speech? Here, I'll do your actual speech. Hi, house guys. Kelsey's great. We spent the whole week together, and she's actually amazing. I've really come to like her. Bye. That was your attitude.
I know. Don't tell me about it. Don't even tell me about it on this. I can't talk about it right now. I can't talk about it right now.
It's all right. You got it off your chest. You got the real one.
I know. That was my real speech.
Well, who knows what would have happened? It's all in the past now. I think the biggest takeaway that we can get from all of the information that you gave is that viewers just love exposed floating double Ds. And speaking of damsels in distress, Raul was a damsel in distress in his own very particular way this past week, and he found himself on the block again with his alliance mate Kelsey. And the last time that happened, Raul stayed, but this time Raul was unceremoniously evicted from the house. He was the victim. Finally, this three-headed dragon had one head completely lopped off. Alec, what was the final nail in Raul's coffin? What was it about him that week that made the house guests go, you know what, we've had enough of this guy. We're going to keep the girl who we already evicted?
No, I think you guys both kind of touched on it earlier in the show. I think it is about consistency. I think Kelsey proved that, she's kind of loyal and she's not like a snake in the grass by not throwing everybody under the bus. Raul selling his mama, selling his grandbaby, selling his car, just trying to get everybody save me, save me, save me. So I think people were kind of like irked by that. It would be like if I was throwing you under the bus, or friggin' Zach throwing Jordan Parhar under the bus. It would just be weird people out, and people would be like, "What the hell is going on? Like, why is Raul trying to throw under his best ally?" So I wouldn't align with anybody like that personally. I would be a little uncomfortable keeping anyone like that in the house. So I would like to think that's what happened. But to be fair, I'm not sure what the hell is going on in these people's heads. So that would.
But can't the case be made though? Like, what other option did he have? Like his allies.
Well, he could have done exactly what he did before to keep him safe. I don't know what he did then, but he could have just done that.
Well, okay. In my personal opinion, Raul and Kelsey helped Jared win the POV. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a moment there in that show where they're all like migrating as little rats around the red button and helping Jared find all these pieces. In my mind, it would have made sense for them to help Raul find all these pieces and Raul win that veto and take someone off the block. I mean, that to me would have made the most sense. I mean, I guess that didn't happen. He could have had leverage. You know what I mean? It just, to me, Raul would have had leverage. It would have made a lot more sense. Jared comes off the block. Raul goes up, and how can you expect him not to campaign? I mean, he's either he campaigns or he goes home, and at the end of the day, it's like, why would you?
But Kelsey's the biggest self-implosion machine on the planet. She would just screw herself. Cass is literally there trying to fight votes for her, and she's literally just telling the PAX bros to shut up and leave.
Yeah, but that's why she's there, and that's why people value that. That is why in this setting of this house, season 1, because the brothers trust Kelsey more than they trust Cassandra, because Kelsey's saying it like it is. People as much as they might get offended, they gravitate towards Kelsey because, okay, as boys, she's pretty. If Jared could go and Kelsey could stay, I mean, it works out perfect for the brothers. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think for Raul, like, I don't know why you would help someone win the veto knowing that if someone comes off the block, and especially if it's Jared taking himself off, and someone needs to go up, and they've already targeted 2 of your allies, why wouldn't you think that if they were trying to break up the trio, that there isn't a chance for you to go up? It's just really hard for me to grasp that, like, why, I know you're friends, but why, like, you know what, I can't say that. I wanted to use a veto on Shari because I felt like she could campaign better, she had a better social game, and she could campaign and get me off the block if I wanted the veto and use it on her. You know what I mean? But with someone like those 3, it's kind of like, you probably should have won the veto.
Yeah, I completely agree that I think Raul should have. Maybe he just couldn't do the competition, and he was not. Maybe it was just something that he didn't think he could do, and so he's like, okay, well, I'll give it to Jared then. But it is silly that he wouldn't have thought that through. But I think the lesson to learn for future players from Raul's game is that. Okay, so he also made a fairly coherent argument to everybody in the room. He did it in a pretty arrogant way or very condescending way when he was like, oh, I don't need you. You cannot be here, like, when he had the Like, he went about it in a bad way, but assembling those people and being like, okay, we have the numbers in this room right now.
Peter is frozen in the most.
Now, and I'll find you guys. But he was like, "Oh, I'm like you're all floating." Like he was literally attacking their game while championing his own, which is stupid because his game was awful. And so I think the lesson is the reason why they didn't listen to him. Part of the reason, is because he had not massaged or maintained or maneuvered any of those relationships in that room up until the point that he absolutely needed them to. So it's like. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I could have been good if they just would have listened to me. And it's like, well, the reason why they're not listening to you is you had whatever, like 45 days or however long Raul was in there to convince them to, like, make them your friends so they would listen to you. Right. So, like, Raul going, okay, Jared and Kelsey, like, this is the end of the line for us. Like, if I want to stay, I got to go elsewhere. But, like, being in a reactionary position like that within the game, and then you're transparently going after everyone while also trying to maintain your own sense of, like, ego by telling them all how bad they're playing and how great he was playing in this, like, 3-pronged alliance over here. The strategy is just never going to work. Yeah. So it's like, always maintain as many relationships as you can so that if you come to a point where you need to turn on your alliance before they turn on to you, somebody else will at least give you the time of day and not just sit down and listen to you because there's nothing to do.
That's very true.
Yeah, I think sometimes, like, there's in Big Brother, being a good player is a very, very subjective thing. Like, you can consider one person really good, you can consider Mitch bad because he got evicted, you can consider Mitch great because he was a strategic mastermind. Being good and bad are very subjective things in Big Brother. Here's one thing that's not subjective in Big Brother. Raul was bad. Raul was straight up bad. You think Raul was good at Big Brother, you need to stop watching. You need to go get help. Because that is like the one truth that Big Brother has. Raul was not a very good player. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
I'm on that. Boom.
He is great in the limelight.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Raul's dead and buried. He's gone. But somebody else has gone too. And he's not gone in the television version of the show yet. In fact, I'm not sure if he's going to be going on Wednesday's episode or Thursday's episode. But spoiler, as of the internet reveal, Big Brother's own Twitter account put it out, Ramsey has voluntarily exited the game because of a family illness. So his dad is sick, needs surgery, and it's serious enough that he felt like he needed to be pulled from the game. And so Ramsey leaving. I guess what's the takeaway from Ramsey? Because here's a guy who twice when he was not the target, but when he was on the block, saved himself, including this week. Had a pretty clearly defined alliance on like the anti-Jared alliance on the other side. Had a showmance with Maddie, which in many ways mirrors the Jared and Kelsey show. Like, I think part of the reason why Maddie helps Kelsey as inside is because they are very, very similar people. Like, Maddie's very hypocritical with the reasons why she doesn't like others, because she does the exact same thing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Ramsey, not the most strategic guy in the world. We didn't see him like plotting and planning and scheming all the time, but he was pretty social, and I think everybody likes Ramsey. It was like this person, and Ramsey as a target. And so he's left, he's gone from the game. Maybe this compromises Maddie. I really think it compromises how this week would have worked out for the Pack Bros HOH, because I think they were kind of planning on a tie. They would break and send a certain Australian home. That's not going to happen anymore because you can't have a tie. But anyway, Ramsey's gone. I think he was pretty good, not great, but I'm just thinking, could have been more, could have really ramped up in the later stages of the game, but ultimately made the best decision for him and his family. So, Alec, any parting thoughts on Ramsey and his game?
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good the next time he plays. I believe that he will play again because it's just a good story. And I think the next time he plays, he will have at least watched a couple seasons. Because, like, once you're on it, you got to start watching the seasons, right? I honestly think that if he watched the seasons, he's a smart enough guy, he's charismatic enough, he's likable enough. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Ramsey. I think the only thing that was his downfall, is the fact that he hadn't watched any seasons. He didn't really know that, what the typical Big Brother strategies are. He kind of came in, to me it seemed like he came in a little bit unprepared. And I think he, next time he plays, if he does play, which I believe he will, I think he's going to do really well. I think he's going to come in under the radar. He's not, a physical strategic threat. But if he gets a couple seasons under his belt, I think he's got the, the baseline smarts and likability to go pretty far in the game. It's unfortunate what happened.
Levita, you lived with Ramsey for a number of weeks. What was he really like in the house? And do you agree with Alec? Like, could he be somebody that could be a winner if he gets the chance to play again? And how do you feel about his exit from the show?
Ramsey is awesome. He's a straight-up honest guy. And I definitely think, like Alex said, like if he did get a second chance, I think Ramsey could make it all the way. In fact, even in this game, Ramsey had that ability because his game really got tainted when that first blow-up kind of happened with the votes, and the Jared, Kelsey, Raul were asking, where did this come from? And he kind of got, mixed in with that, and that wasn't really true. So I think that if that hadn't happened, because people believe things so quickly in that house that aren't true, Ramsey, I think if he had stayed, could have taken the game. But you can see Ramsey as a person in his heart, respect him for doing what he did. But I think that Ramsey could have won this season. And I was rooting for, Ramsey, Joel, Kelsey, but I definitely think Ramsey could have won this season. And he is a really good player. He's good at, he always used to tell me, like walk past and say, mind, body, soul. You'd always say that to me just to kind of remind me, you might have these things in your mind, Levita, but your body needs to follow. Like your body language needs to emote, your mind. You can have all the strategy, but your body needs to show, like, you don't care. Everything's good. You know what I mean? And Big Brother house is really important. And Ramsey was able to identify that really easily. So even though there was times that I knew, like, Ramsey felt like he was threatened or going to go on the block or whatever it might be, he always was so great at his body, which is keeping it cool, like nothing's going on, talking to everybody, treating everyone with respect. And that's one thing that I value about Ramsey is that he's very respectful. He's a good guy, and a lot of people in that house are friends with him genuinely, and that's the thing. And I said, popularity in the Big Brother house isn't always a good thing, because when you're looked at as popular, you're looked at as a threat. But yeah, Ramsey, I think now Maddie is backs up against the wall, and she's disposable. It's kind of like bye Felicia now for Maddie.
Truer words perhaps have never been spoken on that line. Yeah, so I said right out of the on Sideshow episode 1 this year is like Ramsey was my Canadian pick. I felt like he was a little off the board, but he would just be likable and friendly and cool and could kind of adapt as things went on. Wasn't quite as strategic as but he like we were literally not even at like the 70% mark of the game yet, and so like Ramsey still had plenty of time, and so it's unfortunate that the life kind of got in the way, but obviously we all respect and agree with the decision that he made. But speaking of my other pick, my actual official pick that I wanted to make but couldn't because he wasn't technically in the Avs yet, Tim Dormer on the block right now. We're not just talking about the network we're on. Tim is the replacement nominee for PAX Bros this week, so it is him against Maddie. So just to break this down a little bit, basically what happened was there was some ongoing discussion about whether they should put Jared up, and ultimately they decided not to, and it kind of came down to this cool conversation between Tim and Phil. And as you may have noticed, that Phil, anytime his machismo or his bravado or his ego is challenged, he goes into a hop and goes into a fit. And it's like we kind of seen a little bit like this too when they were like point blank telling Kelsey, "You are not going to win this game." And I was like, "Ooh, this is like stay funny, Pax Bro." It's like, don't go down a path of darkness. Like, anyway,
stay funny, Pax Bro.
The idea was, though, like after they were like, okay, we're going to expose Tim's game, we're going to blow this guy up, and we're going to make sure that he leaves. It's going to be the biggest move of all time. And basically, it was considered that Cass, Joel, and Nikki would vote to keep Tim, and that Ramsey, Jared, and Kelsey would vote to evict him. And then so there would be a tie, and then the brothers could stand up and in a duet, sing that they evict him. Now Ramsey is gone. He does not vote. He is not a juror, so there's a big question mark as to what's going to happen there. But what's more relevant to this is that the vote cannot be tied anymore. And so now you have the three people who were likely to be anyway, and then Chelsea on this other side, who might switch their opinion, and I believe kind of already has, just to put the final nail, we beat that side of the house kind of finality to Maddie and send her packing the jury. And that would leave him in the game, and along with the other wild card, Nikki, and the brothers themselves, obviously. But it's been a very up and down kind of topsy-turvy, difficult decision-making week for the brothers, possibly because there's literally two of them and they have to come to a decision together. But it seemed like they've had 1,000 different ways that they want to go. But no matter how many times it comes back to it, I think they've clearly shown that they are aligned to Jared, ultimately kind of, I think, to their detriment, because Jared doesn't want to keep the brothers in the game. He views them as a threat to win, which I believe they are. In fact, I believe that basically everybody in the house, possibly except for Nikki, is a threat to win the game. And so Jared views the bros as perhaps his biggest obstacle to overcome and wants them out immediately. So maybe not the greatest move for the brothers to target Tim because he wasn't coming after them. It's been a wacky week. Anyway, Alec, I know you love the bros. And according to my metrics, they are actually playing right now the most successful game statistically. But what have you thought of their HOH so far? And can they recover if a double eviction, which is likely coming up very soon, looms, which they could be prime juicy targets for?
Yeah, that's a tough spot. I do love the PAX Bros. I love me some bros. I'm 2 packs for life. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, honestly, man, that conversation with Tim, you could see it as like, oh, Felipe getting his bravado challenge, his machismo, and he's puffing his chest out. Man, if somebody was talking to me like that, I swear to God, if Tim tried to talk to me like that, I would have the exact same reaction. This Tim guy, man, honestly, I loved him at first. I thought he was hilarious. I thought he was he still remains super good for the show. But just the cracks are shown in his personality. And, honestly, he's a very, very arrogant person, in my opinion, for what I've seen on the show. It's just he's just sitting there on his high horse, basically telling these bros what they should do. They need to make big moves. Who are you to tell me how to play my game? I can totally see what the PAX Bros did. I know it's an unpopular move because Tim is the most popular guy in the world, but still, it's like you got to put yourself in their perspective. And at least when I do that, I feel like this guy just thinks he's the shit. And sorry, like I may be an idiot for doing this, but I'm gonna put you up there and I'm gonna try and get you out just because you're talking like this. You can't do this to people. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he is a danger.
Does he
Like,
come off like that? Like, is he?
you know what? He's a really nice guy, and I gotta say this. Like, I guess like I was saying to you guys, I view the game as a board game, and there was pieces. So like, I was very in the house. It was so easy for me to separate personality from like the game player. And personality-wise, Tim is amazing. Great personality, great guy, so funny.
Yeah.
But in the game, it is a smart move, and Tim should have been sent out really early in the game because he is a competitor, and as much as like, he expressed that, the Australian version of the game is different because, Australia votes, the fans vote who goes home. Just because he highlighted that and expressed that like immediately, it's kind of like, you're a threat. And, he is very good at just how he came into the game. These wildcards come into the game as experienced Big Brother players of other, from other places. Everybody looks at them as mentors. Even I did. I'm not going to deny it. When I first met him, I was like, oh, like, he could, like, totally help guide my game. But if I won Big Brother Canada and got a chance to go over to Australia and win Big Brother, would I just be there to help someone else win? No. And I think that that's what they're realizing. But the problem with the brothers doing it that way, I think to be successful in putting Tim on the block is to have a conversation with Tim and ask Tim, maybe, hey, if the whole house right now wants Maddie out and they feel like it's too dangerous, because you really don't know what anybody else is going to do. You don't know how they're going to vote. Jared kind of likes Tim too. And he has Kelsey and has a lot of pull in the house. I might almost look at Tim just to kind of sit him on the block and say, like, you want to be a pawn, let's get Maddie out so that the Pax Bros can keep their tie. Because I could maybe, if Jared is being strategic, I could see Jared kind of going to Tim saying, let's rally you votes and then let's work together and then get the bros out.
Yeah, I
because
can see that too.
You know what I mean? I can see that happening. And I don't know if, I haven't really watched the live feeds. I don't know if the brothers have thought about that. But there's a high opportunity. Like, who you put on the block, like, I threw Christine and Cassandra. Could either of them win a competition for the life of them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well,
sorry, maybe Christine, yeah. Christine, but in comparison, like, to Tim winning, Tim and Maddie are pretty big competitors, and Tim, social competitor. I'm worried a little bit by their move. I think that it was a smart move if the house is going to go to evict him. But if they're not going to evict him, you could be friendly, you could be fun, but you do know when people do take things personally, and I know for a fact that Tim, this group's too small now. You do literally, you can't realign now. It's like, this is it. This is like,
Tim is one person you don't want to take a shot at and miss.
No.
And I think
yes.
If they do miss, they're going to be in dire straits if Tim does not go home.
It would have been better for them to say, because Tim is one person I think you could reason with in the house, because he likes the crazy wild moves. Tim is somebody that they could have been like, just so they didn't have to like piss anybody else off, they could have just been like, hey Tim, you're liked in this house. We like you. You've encouraged us. Would you go up as like, a pawn? We don't want you out, but we know that you're the one person that can understand. We'll have your back. Maybe try to form some deal with Tim rather than just kind of plop him up there. Like, I don't know if they did have a conversation with him, but it's dangerous waters.
Basically, what had happened was Tim was kind of trying to get Jared up in one way or another, and had sort of said to Phil, like, okay, like, you're just gonna go with the like, not put him up, go. I think this is before Ramsey left too, I believe. Like, just go with the house. You're gonna keep being a middle player. Like, everybody's like seeing your game now. Like, everybody knows what you're gonna do. Like, don't come to me for advice anymore. Like, I'm cutting you off. Is kind of what Tim was saying. Like, he's like, now I see what you're. It was a very like father, patting down the like aggressive son, and saying like, okay, you want to learn your lesson the hard way, you're going to learn your lesson the hard way. And so I kind of think that's what's going to happen. I do think Tim's going to stay. I think it's probably going to be a 5-0 vote. And then you're going to have Tim / Cassandra / probably still Jared coming after them. And so it's like the brothers with their impulsive kind of reactions to things. And they've been playing a great game up until this point. Like, no one's decided they've been playing a great game at this point. But they've got like kind of ultra HOH-itis, like, which can happen to a lot of good players have gotten like the HOH in their head. And I think because there's 2 of their heads, it's like double. So they might be not so good because, like, mathematically speaking, we got to get rid of some bodies in the next little while. So there at least has to be 1 double eviction or an instant or maybe both. Like the weeks are really dwindling down. There's still a lot of bodies in there. If we assume there's going to be 4 people in week 11 with like the one kind of random Sunday like eviction or whatever, like the Brittany / Heather / Tala eviction. But then that still leaves 3 other people in there that need to go in 2 weeks. So there's got to be an instant or there's got to be a double in there. And so this is, or maybe they're just going to get all of them in a triple or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's a totally new idea. I'm not sure. We never know with Big Brother Canada. It literally could be anything. And so that's where I think the brothers might be in the most danger because they played really well. They got power. And I think a big test of like how you are as a game player is how do you react when you get power. And so the brothers maybe have not made the greatest move. They've made some very interesting moves, but as a on paper they might be good, but as a fallout, what's going to happen afterwards remains to be seen, obviously. But that's like I think we're setting up for like perhaps the best endgame that we've ever seen with all the people left in there. But speaking of the people that are left and the people that are gone, Levita, we're going to play a game with you right now that we love to play on the Sheyld Show. And that is basically, we're going to give you a name from a house guest of your season, and you're going to tell us what you think of them, and Alec is going to give you a gong when he's heard enough.
The gong will sound like this.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start with everybody's favorite, Jared.
I think Jared has a good heart. I think he's a good guy, a little bit too emotional, and he's going to win the game.
There's a prediction, folks.
Dude, that's crazy. Hold on, let's stop on this. You think Jared's going to win the game? Is that your official prediction?
I got to say that the way the house is going, if the people that are all hail Jared remain, people will allow someone like Jared to win the game. He has ran the house, has a lot of friends. If people keep him in there, I do see him winning.
Who do you see evicting Joel? I just want to, because I thought
I want Joel to win. Okay, these are my 3 people I want to win. I want Joel, okay, you can't say Ramsey now, but Joel and Kelsey. Kelsey because I had a hand in making peace with her and kind of giving her some guidance, so it would be a great feat to see her win.
If Kelsey wins, it's basically Levita wins as well. Let's be honest.
No. I'm not playing the game now. I'm just saying I would love Kelsey to win. I'd also love Joel to win. And you know what? Jared isn't a mean guy. He does, he is really emotional in the house, but everybody has a personality. That's him as a person. You know what I mean? He has strong emotions, and you can't take that away from somebody. But because he has come so far, I'm even thinking like.
We're not talking.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I could go on for days.
What do we mean?
Next up, Kelsey.
Kelsey, cool girl, really social. Not really that much of a game player, but I think that her social skills really aid her in being an amazing person in the Big Brother house. And now that she's gone in with more information, mastermind genius!
The Pax Bros.
Pax Bros, good guys, fun brothers, a little bit too quick to make decisions, a little bit too quick, Should have kept Levita because Levita actually had their back. But I think that if they do make it to the end, could have a chance. Nice guys, playing a clean game. They're trying to play a clean game.
Christine.
House cleaner.
Wow. Ramsey.
Sorry.
You drool. Ramsey. Ramsey is our next contestant.
POV champ, like a boss. Ramsey is a boss in comps. Love Ramsey, biggest heart, sweetest guy. Can't wait to be friends with him.
Aw.
Speaking of somebody else who can't wait to be friends with Ramsey on the outside.
Not happening. Yeah, we're all going to be best friends. It's all a game, so it'll be good. But, yeah.
Go on, then.
Oh, Maddie. Am I supposed to describe Maddie now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Maddie. Don't know what her game strategy is. Not going to try to guess. Will backdoor you in a minute. Any second. Doesn't matter if you're there for her. Take her off the block. Doesn't make a difference. Sweet girl. Super hilarious. Maddie is funny. She can really make you laugh. Everybody's going to love her because she's hilarious. But in the game, I don't know about that one. A little suspicious.
Oh, there we go.
I was waiting for the gong there.
Yeah.
Next up, Mastermind Mitch.
Oh my gosh, I love Mitch. I love Mitch's game. Great guy, great personality. Thought he had it made. Thought he was going to make it to the end. Even with the little jab of the twist, thought he was going to bring me back in. But I think he's definitely one of the best players in this game, and I think that he's a great person.
So you think if Mitch brings you back, he's good?
Yeah, if Mitch brought me back, I would not have thrown him on the block. I would have, there's multiple things I talked about, but Mitch brought me back. Mitch would not have been on that block.
So is that an argument then to say, because there's a lot of people that say Mitch was just screwed by this twist?
No. If Mitch recognized that he made an alliance with me in the have-not room, if you remember, shut your mouth.
You're in that camp. You're in the camp that like Mitch didn't get screwed by the twist. If he would have done something, he could have been okay.
I think he knew though in the back of his mind because he had said like I think people are going to regret this, and he that is something I do think that if he had done, I would not have put Mitch up on the block. It wouldn't have been in my best interest.
That's an interesting perspective because I hadn't thought of that before. I was sort of in the camp where like, yeah, this twist really did fuck him, but I didn't actually think that he could orchestrate kind of the twist and how the twist plays out. I forgot.
Wouldn't have put Mitch. No. Eventually, obviously, everyone has to go up, but initially, it wouldn't have been good for my game to go in there because he would know I'm a Lone Ranger, so he'd assume that I would come to him and Joel and be like, remember our alliance? Like, I'm back. I'm here. I'm still committed. So, yeah, I wouldn't have touched. Mitch would not have been evicted the week he was here.
Sorry, we had to stop there.
Next up is Shari.
Shari. Biggest heart, sweetest lady, good person, love her to death, wish that we had the opportunity to work together in the game, and just honest, cool, chill, relaxed, good player. Should have had more weeks.
I think you could have gone on there for hours. But...
I know, I could have kept going on and on.
That was an accidental one. Sorry, that was accident.
Lavina, shut up now.
Raul.
Oh, Diva, Canada's next top model. That's funny.
Next up is Precious Little Paige.
Oh, sweet girl, good heart, quiet, wicked at making languages up. She has her own language with her sister. Super smart, I thought. Yeah, like she made up her own language. So when they were 5, so intricate. I like her. I think she's a sweet girl. I feel really bad that she left week 1.
What does it sound like? What does the language sound like?
It's Inaga. So it's like in a guy, blah 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 blah, and it's like consonants, letters, like vowels.
That's what she did. She watched her like video, her like preseason video, and she does that in her video.
Yeah.
And we're just like, what the hell are you doing?
I like her.
Now she's
next up, the beast from the east, Dallas.
Dally's my boy. I love Dallas. Dallas got me riled up in the house. He made me remember that I need to be, I need to shoot straight and just start being vocal about my opinions when I was being quiet. Dallas, you know what? I love Dallas as a person. So I just think Dallas could have won the game if people realized that he was honest. He just wanted to be forward. People could have worked with him.
I love this game.
Next up is Cassandra.
Cassandra. Oh, airtime.
Oh.
Loves the camera, loves acting, loves the faces, but she's hilarious. I gotta give it to her. She's a funny girl. She's good at the game. She's good at persuading people. I think she should be like in politics. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like she's really, she's really wise when it comes to persuasion, and I can't hate her for it because you know what? She's killing in the game right now. So kudos to Cassandra.
Next up, Joel.
Joel, funniest guy ever, best sense of humor, love him, better win, most knowledgeable. Very strategic in the fact that he doesn't do too much talking. He does a lot of listening, so if anybody has information, it's Joel. And I just think Joel, as a person, is somebody that I really like and connect with.
The UK's own Nikki.
Nikki. Love Nikki. Ball of fire. So funny. Over dramatic. Definitely one of Canada's favorite people. And I have to say she's one of my favorite people. I absolutely love Nikki, and I think she is just the tiniest little ball of joy and fun and a wicked gymnast.
From Australia, Tim.
Tim is a mastermind manipulator, great at BB game, super fun to be around, great when it comes to an atmosphere. He's somebody that is the life of the party. And has these minions wrapped around his finger. So yeah, he's a
And last but certainly not least, Levita.
Oh, I'm mediocre. I messed up because I won the first HOH. I should be shunned from BB forever. Yeah, Levita's not.
No. I can't go on that. I can't go on that.
I can make fun of myself. I kind of enjoy it. It's good.
You know what? Having a good sense of humor is something that we love to do here on the Sheyld Show each and every week. This year we try to bring the funny as part of On the Block Network. See how I casually turn this into a shill. And On the Block Network.
Great casual shill.
It's our show, the Sheyld Show, every Monday. Spencer McRae on the Block Network and Max and Corinne doing their Survivor thing each and every week. And so we have it on YouTube, on iTunes, on SoundCloud, all over the internet. And in order to keep it free, we like for you to give back because we love that you watch and we do everything for you. We are nothing if you don't watch. And so you can donate. Any donation, you can give us $0.25, you can give us $1, you can give us 10. It doesn't matter. Spencer's got all sorts of cool prizes to be given out throughout the year as you watch and participate and tweet us, and we love to talk about this game. It's something that we love to do. We do it of our own time because what the hell else are we going to do? We're washed up has-beens from the past, and so we have to talk about the thing that we love. Somebody has got to listen to us. But we sincerely appreciate that you do. You could have been anywhere in the world, and you chose to be with us. And so to give a little support back would be sincerely appreciated. That's going to do it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. Levita, thank you so much for joining us. You have...
Thank you.
And we certainly look forward to seeing you in just about a little less than a month at the finale. It's going to be a hell of an event.
Yay! Can't wait. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Fastest yay ever.
I know.
Yay!
Porridge like porridge.
But yeah, so that's gonna do it for us this week. Alec and I will be back next Monday night to talk about who went home. Would it be sweet little Maddie or Tim from Australia, the first wild card gone in Big Brother Canada Season 4, and we'll have another guest from Big Brother's Fest. So for Alec, I'm Peter. She's Levita. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing in the Sheyld. Until next time, you